But now about Ryan Garcia, because anytime his name's brought up, people are like, his social media following, he has such a big social media following. I said that in a, in a very negative kind of voice. Let's talk about the positives of that first. He has a, what's his Instagram following?
7.8 million.
7.8.
That's all right. He's doing all right, Manny Pacquiao has like 6, but whatever.
Why do people talk about this? Why is it a good thing?
But that gives him an incredible amount of power, both in creating the fights that he wants to fight. 7.8 million people are interested in this kid. That's a big deal. He's a star. He's already a celebrity. At 22, he's a celebrity for a very young and highly coveted audience. Probably the most coveted audience there is. He's already a celebrity there. People have told me that means that Ryan Garcia can make the biggest and best fights possible. You've already seen it with the Paul brothers, Logan Paul and Jake Paul, who come into boxing and can make big fights. Mm-hmm. Ryan Garcia has that kind of power, except that Ryan Garcia has all the amateur credentials you could ever want in a fighter, and has focused completely on becoming the greatest professional boxer of his time, which is his goal.
In the world of boxing, people sell fights. And the way that you sell fights is using a pay-per-view model, a subscription model, something. But you got to get people to pay in. And in order to do that, we need advertising, we need marketing. Well, here comes a kid who's it's built in, right? You could go find some phenom, right, in Mexico, a boxing phenom, and be like, hey, but if nobody, then you've got to do all that work. Well, you've got to do the local shows. You've got to get his name out there. You've got to, find some way. Okay, we got to build this narrative. I'm the promoter, so I got to come up with a storyline. Gennady Golovkin is a great example. They had a great narrative for Golovkin when he came up, right? That people loved him. But Ryan Garcia, why his social media following is so important is because that is built-in marketing that just comes with this kid. So it's really like a special gift for Golden Boy, right?
Well, the truth about combat sports, and especially the model in boxing where the lion's share of the money and negotiating power goes to the fighter, the truth about that is that boxing has always been about getting people interested and watching you fight. It doesn't really... sometimes it coincides with you being the best fighter in the world, like Floyd Mayweather's career, Manny Pacquiao's career, but that doesn't always have to be that. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is a great example of somebody who benefited from being famous.
Yeah.
He was on pay-per-views with his dad, who was well past actual competition at that time, selling pay-per-views because of his name. It happens all the time in the sport of boxing, and obviously now we see the YouTubers coming in the sport and selling tons of pay-per-views because people want to see it. That's the most important thing. But if you can combine that level of interest in somebody's career with being an actual good fighter, man, the sky is the limit for real for Ryan Garcia. And that's exciting. And on top of that, Ryan Garcia has a lot of competition in and around his division that's young, that is equally, you can get just as excited about, Gervonta Davis, right? Looks to be like a big superstar. Teofimo Lopez too, right? Devin Haney, these guys, man, that's an exciting thing. And it reminds me a little bit of how Manny Pacquiao came up. Of course, Pacquiao wasn't a celebrity back then, but Manny Pacquiao came up, and there was who was around him. He had Marco Antonio Barrera. Mm-hmm. He had Eric Morales. He had Juan Manuel Marquez. These fights helped all those guys, right?
All of them,
potentially, I'm not saying these guys are those guys, but they could be. They have that potential, and that's exciting.